Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Healing affirmations for the soul. Let's look at new life in a new moon in Scorpio, endings, going deep, releasing old emotions, old things that are not serving us. That's what this time is about. Not to mention that we're crossing over into a new season of winter. And that means that we're going to be gathering things to get what we need to survive through the winter, much like the bears. Not to say that we're animals, but just think about the seasons changing. And so, as the seasons change, we change. I remember when I was younger, I thought about how my skin would peel. And I didn't know what that was about, but we also put on t-shirts around October or November in Michigan because it would keep us from catching colds. My mother would say they gave us Father John. So here is a new moon also stating that it's a change, a new moon in Scorpio going deep, releasing old things, things from yesterday, things from earlier this year that didn't serve us, things from the past, a year and 2 years ago that keep coming up that doesn't serve us. And does that mean that we're getting rid of people, places, and things? It doesn't. Sometimes it's emotions that we are releasing, and we have to pay attention to the memories, even trauma that's coming up. Because yesterday I had a conversation with someone, and it's funny how people can look at you and say, "Are you okay?" But really, if we pay attention to each other, we might be able to help each other out by saying, is it me or is it you? Because there's this thing of projecting. Sometimes projecting is not a negative, but sometimes it is that we have to know how we feel in that moment in time when someone is asking us, is everything okay? So that we can see that maybe they're asking that question for themselves, but they're looking at us, because sometimes we see each other through the lens of ourselves, which is mirroring. Scorpio does bring up those feelings and emotions because it's a deep energy. Now, for those who don't believe in the zodiac, that's okay. One day, when old things pass away and new things come, you will accept what God may be giving you. Now, that's not for everybody, but for some people, God has given them the understanding that heaven and earth shall pass away, but his word will remain. The word in Malachi tells us about healing will rise in the sun, and it's spelled S-U-N when you go and read it in the King James Version. There's so many things, even over in Isaiah 54, he says he will make our gates of carbuncle. People don't believe in stones, and there's some that are coming into it now. Stones are made from the earth, which is a natural resource. If we had said this a year or two ago, people were saying, and maybe 15 years ago, they were saying you're practicing witchcraft. These are old things that have to be released at each person's will. However, it is the energy of Scorpio that brings us understanding and says, do you want this information or do you not? So when I talk about the new moon, it's something that the people used to be able to know the seasons for fertilization in fields. Season to season, they had to look at moons and the sun in order to know how to plant. So we want to get up on some information and stop letting people make us think that we are doing witchcraft. Our ancestors, they looked at the timing of the sun to travel because there was no watches and clocks. Harriet Tubman, I teach my people in my classes about these things, but she was taught to follow the northern star to get to the north. So let's start breaking these old thought paradigms that keep us limited from understanding the truth of who we are and what we do every day and who we associate with. Now, In 2 Corinthians 5:17, it says, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, old things are become new. So what is becoming new in your life? It's a question for each and every one of us. What is old? Is it emotions? Is it the place that I live? Is God telling me to move? Is it the job? Is it something I need to redo on the job? Is it something that I need to change about me in my profession? Is it something that needs to be released? Is it my attitude? Is it the way that I think people think about me? Is it that I need to stop serving people and start serving self? Is it that I need to balance my life out financially? Maybe I need to learn about finances. Old things pass away. The way I handled my finances. I didn't pay my bills. Now I feel the urge that I want to, but I got a roadblock. I didn't realize it was my own roadblock that I had blocked myself because I learned from people maybe that didn't pay their bills. Now I have to change that. This is Scorpio energy. Let it go. It's not working for you. Go deep. Find out what the root of it is. What caused you to be in that paradigm or predicament? Why did you marry her or him? Why isn't it working? Is it you or is it both of you? It takes two to make a thing go wrong and it make it go right. But sometimes there's one that adds more because of their damage and their mental situations, because they don't tell the truth about how they're feeling about something, because they don't communicate. That's relationships. Ephesians 4:22-24. That you put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. Now, a lot of times people think that lust has to do with sex, but it's whatever you're lusting after: money, friendship. You want it. You just got to have it. Drugs. What about time with God? What about going out to nature, spending time with yourself, learning that, right? These are ideas, by the way. And I want to look at the former conversation. What you have been saying to yourself is what you say to people, like I brought up with the person from yesterday. Because they didn't feel good. They were actually looking at me and saying, do you not feel good? And I smiled. Because oftentimes people look at you and they need something, but they don't get it because they're not actually sharing what they truly feel. Why? Because we all have trust issues. How do we move beyond trust issues? We start trusting ourselves. So if there's a message in you and me today that says, I don't trust people, back up and look at yourself and say, why don't I trust people? Because I don't trust myself. When I start trusting myself, I can trust people because I understand how to move. I want to say shake and move out of situations that are not serving me. You see? So here is our healing affirmation for the day. All about going deep, because we're in that moon energy. And if anybody tells you anything other than what God is saying to you, especially if you're living a life where you have a devotion every day and you receive your messages, if they're telling you anything otherwise than what you're learning from spirit, put that information on the side, entertain it after you and God have supped over some things, and then ask God, is this something that I really need to take into my consciousness? All right, healing affirmation. And it is commit to a joyful life. It says, release any old emotions, thinking patterns, or habits that are potentially holding you back, including any idea that life is a struggle, and commit to a life filled with joy and ease instead of the emotional old patterns. And again, we talked about 2 Corinthians 5:17. He is a new creature. Old things have passed away. Where is new life anyway? According to Christ, he said that he came that we would have life abundantly. Life abundant cannot come without a new idea, a new way of thinking. That's where new life comes from. Ephesians 22:24, put off the former conversation. What is the conversation you've been saying to yourself? I've been saying to myself. What is it that people have been saying that is not getting them where they want to get to, where you want to go? And if you are not getting where you need to go, then you want to examine the conversation so that you can get a new conversation going on within and change that old conversation so you can move forward in your life. Being stuck is a matter of changing your thoughts, my thoughts, and our consciousness. So that's what we have for today. New life. What is new life? When you're creating new life, you look at the seasons. You look at the season in your life and say, what do I need to change? Because you have a season there. Some of us are stuck in seasons 10 years ago because we don't even understand that I brought up the new moon. The new moon is releasing old ideas, setting new intentions. It is planting and taking up what is not working. So you guys be blessed, share, tune in, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.